Hi everyone, this is Arpad from the YouTube channel Starpath Academy, and today I would like to talk about the Matrix. Right, so it comes from the movie Matrix, right? I hope everyone knows that and knows the movie and seen the movie. If not, definitely see the movie, um, The Matrix, at least the first episode, where it kind of lays it out. Now, of course, that may be fiction, maybe not fiction, we don't care, but at least we now have a thing, a concept to talk about. This invisible prison that has been pulled around you, that you are in, right? And you don't even know that you're in the prison. Now, what kind of prison are we talking about? It's not of visible bars, it's not even physical restriction, although we do have that in this world, right, to some degree, with countries and passports and so on and so forth, and never go to Antarctica and blah blah blah. So that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is your limitation, the belief system that you have in you that you are limited by. And that comes through education. That comes from your loving mother and father because they had been educated in some way, where it restricts your freedom. And by freedom, I'm not saying like try out every crazy thing to your body or to your mind and live the moment, because that's not freedom. That's just another form of slavery. In fact, it's probably a bigger form of slavery than what you have now. What I'm talking about is your limitations, your capacity or your capability to achieve something in this world or beyond this world is limited by your fears and by your belief systems. And that's what I'm talking about. So, and you have to kind of bump into the walls, so to speak, in order to even realize it, right? You have to actually be able to do something and want to do something. And then you're going to go and kind of rub against the walls and see like, okay, why am I not able to do this? Who's limiting me? And then you kind of like see that limitations are imposed upon you by big institutions in many cases. However, you accept those because for some reason they have a piece of paper somewhere on the wall that tells them it's okay to do that, and you don't fight against it. And I'm not saying to fight against it, but you can passively resist. But it doesn't start with going out and protesting and shouting and kind of going against the system, because the system is designed to protect itself. And just like how any organism, it wants to protect itself, so you cannot go against it. But there's a very subtle way how you can kind of move towards the side, and to the point where the system doesn't really affect you that much, right? And you don't have to go against it, but you want to be free, right? You want to be free of it, and you have the right to be free, right? You don't necessarily have the right to free others. We're not going to talk about that, but you have the right to free yourself. So I cannot free you, you cannot free me, but individually we can sort of wake up to these restrictions that we have, and there's legal ways how you can kind of pull back and raise your energy and kind of walk along your own path in this life without affecting others too much, right? So that's what I'm talking about. And when you look at it, you see how big corporations or even governments support ideas, technologies that restrict you, but even just like philosophical ideas that kind of limit you in ways that you would not want your future to go into that direction, right? Especially in the West, and maybe the 12 years that kind of the last 12 years has shown us that they don't necessarily have your best interest in mind, right? They have some interest that to keep a community, to keep the status quo, but they don't necessarily have your own personal best interest in mind, and they probably shouldn't, which is fine. However, you should have your own best interest in mind. And when it comes to surveillance, when it comes to monetary systems, when it comes to control grids, when it comes to freedom of travel, freedom of bodily integrity, and that sort of stuff, you'll see that you'll come to these walls and you're bumping into them, and basically you're still supporting them. You know that Big Brother and Google and YouTube and whatever is monitoring you, and it sells your emotions, and it tries to sell you products, and it pushes you towards more and more consumerism and predatory capitalism, or completely restricted worldview, right? However, we do support it, and in some ways we cannot go against it, right? So I'm actually streaming this on YouTube, right? But why am I turning on monetization, right? Does it really support me? I usually get like $13 or $7 per video from YouTube. I don't know if that makes sense to kind of make all of you watch ads for that. I don't know. I can do fine without the $13, or if you just go and donate every month $5 to me for something, it doesn't make sense for me to turn on monetization. Why am I feeding the system that is actively seeking out the enslavement of thought, of what we're trying to achieve here? So like, I'm totally gonna try out and disable monetization on my videos, and hopefully you will support me in the links below the video, right? And this is just one thing. Why am I using Gmail? Why am I not using Proton Mail or something like that, right? Was it really big deal for me to pay like $5 a month and have a secure email and just get away with the Googleplex? Why am I using this phone? Why am I using that service? Why am I paying for Netflix? I never paid for Netflix, but you may want to ask those questions. What are these big institution governments, think tanks supporting that you don't like? And why are you still in them, right? And in the case, you'll find in most of the cases, actually the answer is comfort. It's comfortable. It was designed to be comfortable, right? My God, nobody wants you to be uncomfortable. Nobody wants to make you hear thoughts that goes against you because they want you to be comfortable. Every video that is shown to you is curated by AI, right? God forbid that you would hear an idea that would challenge you, right? Because you need to be comfortable. Because if you're comfortable, the threshold of you changing is never going to get reached. They don't want you, and they want the fruit of your labor and the creativity and especially your attention in their bank, right? Attention is the new currency. What you pay attention to, that will manifest in your life, right? And it works perfectly good on mass, right? In the masses. So media has been the biggest enemy of the people for a long time, right? It's called television programming for a reason. Now with social media, it has kind of like loosened that up, but not too much, because if you take a look at it, it's just we've been pushed into cliques. We've been pushed into segregated account clusters, right? It's very hard for me to reach viewers who are outside of the cluster of monetary economic theory, hyperinflationary theory, that sort of stuff. Even if you share it, it may or may not show in their feed. It's a control grid. It's a system. Now you can go ahead and you can shout and you can scream and you can be frustrated by this, but there's no need to do that, right? Because it's not going to happen once. It's not going to happen, like, there's no big change that's coming, right? What we have to do is individually work on ourselves to be inspirational for others, where you're living such a happy life while not being comfortable with big tech, big government, and big anything, and still living a happy life where people come to you and they ask you, how do you do it? Your smiling, your inspirational life will inspire others, and it will start to change chain reaction, right? So we kind of have to think in that sense. Whatever's within, it's whatever is without. So change needs to come from your inside, from your daily thoughts, from your habits, to how you speak to others, to what you're going to be doing tomorrow, right? That is where you have power, and that is where the change can come. So I'm going to focus some of my videos on that. Of course, we'll still do economic theories and kind of whatever we have been talking about, but just lamenting on the fact that this thing is coming or that thing is coming or this is how we're going to lose everything, it doesn't help anyone, right? What we want to do is live a lifestyle. Well, if we lose this, it doesn't really affect us. So going into that style of lifestyle and changing your thoughts, changing your habits is what we need to focus on in the future. And that's what I'm going to do with these videos. So hopefully you'll join along and support me in that. And yeah, I just recently heard something that the gates of hell are locked from the inside, right? So people are stuck in their habits, people are stuck in their sins, people are stuck in whatever they are stuck in because they're comfortable in that. So I don't want to make you uncomfortable, but maybe you should make yourself uncomfortable so you can change. All right, talk to you next time.